Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon, and today on PartnerTalks, I have Andrew Good. Andrew, tell the folks who you are and what do you do for a living?
Hi, I'm Andrew Good. I am the CEO at Liberty Grove Software, and we focus on Business Central, anything from a broad Business Central into very specific niches.
Okay, Andrew, I've known you for quite a while now. You're big into the community scene, and we've worked together on different community initiatives. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So let's talk about your journey in your career in Dynamics and the work you do around community.
Yeah, well, I'm going to back up just like a step before the ERP world. I grew up, I had a father that was a mechanical engineer. I got exposed to manufacturing at an early age. I became a mechanical engineer myself and went on to work for Unilever and Sony Music in technical roles, hands-on operational roles. Continued that passion and got introduced to ERP before it was called ERP. And in the early 2000s, got introduced to this product called NAV-vision, which was somebody's version of Navision. And here we are today. With the latest and greatest in mid-market ERP from Microsoft.
That's excellent. So let's talk a little bit about your company, Liberty Grove. How did you start? How did you become self-employed? And talk about sort of the growth of the company over the years.
So I started out, I worked with another partner for a few years and saw an opportunity to have a little bit more control over where I was headed, and got introduced to Liberty Grove Software and worked with Liberty Grove Software for a while. Discussions then sort of progressed to what does succession planning look like for the founders. And ultimately in 2011, I bought Liberty Grove Software. And since then, we have really focused our efforts in North America around supporting Business Central. We do some partner-to-partner work, less today than we used to, and a lot of end customer work. You know, those end customers sometimes are rescues, other times they're clients that I did my original implementation with. So my very first implementation of NAV is a client today. So 24 years later, I'm still working with the same people.
So for those who are not familiar with NAV, we'll just jump in to say that it's today's Business Central.
Thank you. Yes. You know, to me, it's second nature. Just slide in legacy terms. And so I've enjoyed working with those customers, identifying the problems, working with them to allow them to be very efficient and keep their costs to a minimum and know what their costs are all along the way, so that they are able to make good objective decisions. First project I worked on, they doubled their business in the first 2 years, and then in the process of doubling their business, they added 10% to their back-end office staff. So inherent solid operations.
So Andrew, let's talk a little bit about the growth of Liberty Software. I think, you're a great example of what Microsoft wants their partners to be. You are an SI VAR partner in the Navision world, migrated to BC, and now you're starting to work in some very interesting specific verticals. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of those verticals you're working in.
So what's sort of organically evolved over the years with Liberty Grove is these verticals, as you refer to them. So as a result, we have a focus in egg producers, rubber trading, ambulatory surgical centers. Some of them are a little bit different, but there's always a common theme there.
So let's talk about your food ERP business, because I'm always interested in food. And it's such a big, diverse business. What areas are you working in food?
So we work in food distribution in the manufacturing space. We work with bakeries, and we will go as far as companies that work with protein or meats.
Okay, and what specifically do you do for them?
So We often move them from a pen and paper based system with back-end accounting to an integrated system, so that the moment that something happens on the floor, it's recorded in the system, so they have real-time data to work with.
So you give them sort of an end-to-end solution, right from, if I'm manufacturing the food item through to distribution and sales.
Yes, absolutely. Complete end-to-end. And then if a given industry or customer doesn't require all the distribution components, we don't go that far with the solution. If they do, we have the ability to take care of their delivery trucks, the route planning, getting the right truck to the right people with the right things at the right time.
So when you're dealing with a lot of these SMB and probably a lot of mom and pop type shops, what's it like to migrate them from probably, paper and pens and spreadsheets to a real integrated solution?
It's an exciting journey. It is a journey. Software is a part of the journey. Change management and cultural change is another part of that journey. So we try to take a holistic approach to come up with an implementation that is appropriate for that particular customer. So that means adjusting implementations to suit a particular project.
Okay, and when we look at a solution like that, you must be using Business Central. Are there any add-on ISV products that you're also bringing into play?
Yeah, so we're fortunate that we've got a rich ISV community to draw upon. We work with InsightWorks, we work with TaskLit Factory, we work with Continue to streamline AP automation and expense management, credit card processing, USTP, and so on.
Okay, excellent. So you've really taken Business Central, you've found a market, and now you're bundling up these ISVs to go to market with you.
Absolutely, and presenting it to a customer as a Business Central solution.
Okay, so Andrew, Microsoft wants everybody to become a frontier firm, right? And we're seeing a lot of AI showing up in Business Central, and I think 2026 is the year we're going to see a lot of AI showing up in our ISV partners. What's your plans, or what are your customers asking for when it comes to AI now?
Our customers are asking for guidance to understand how to structure data, how to have an enriched set of data. Not all the data related to their business is in BC. We'd love it to be there, but it's not practical. Some of it lives in SharePoint. So helping them structure that data so that it is discoverable, identifiable, and usable by the large language models.
Okay, excellent. And how is that going so far?
Right now, people need encouragement to look at how to embrace the technology, how to identify use cases. We're actually running workshops for customers, essentially an envisioning type workshop to say, what could we do with Business Central? What could we do with AI with Business Central? What are perhaps some of my challenges? Because perhaps you've got a lot of people on staff that have gray hair like myself and are nearing retirement. How can you leverage AI to ready your business for the future?
And I think you're in the right spot with Business Central, because it really gives you, I think, a framework and an application with some guardrails around it that you start to use AI for your customers.
Absolutely. And I like your phrase guardrails. That's one that I use myself in terms of putting I call it also 4 walls around your data, so that as you're using your data with AI, you're not leaking data out and enriching the public AI engines with your proprietary data.
Okay, so Andrew, we met through the user group communities a few years back, and I think it's important to talk about that as part of your career journey. So you were always one of the people I looked up to, who was heavily involved in user communities. So let's talk a little bit about, how you got started working with user groups, and what are you doing today?
How we got started working with user groups predates me. We were founders of a partner conference called Directions in North America. It is a Business Central concentric, partner concentric event. And we were co-founders of that particular event. That's how I got introduced to the community, was initially through the partner channel. That grew and got involved with the end user communities, started attending events around 2011, which coincided with me purchasing the company. At first I attended, then I realized that I could share some of my knowledge with that community. So I started sharing that knowledge with the community, and we want to, and it's a corporate philosophy as well, we want to empower users to the extent they want to be empowered. Sounds a little cliche, but
no, but it works.
But it works. We want to provide opportunities to learn. It's a core principle for Liberty Grove software is continuous learning. We like to create those opportunities for end users to learn more about the product, because they got a great Swiss Army knife, but are probably just using, one or two pieces of it.
So this is an interesting piece of news that I didn't know, that Liberty Grove was part of the original group that put Directions North America on the map, because I just attended, and we both did, Directions North America in Florida just a few weeks back, and you had 1,200 friends there. So that little conference you started has really grown into a significant business.
It has, and that's all about sharing within the partner community, and that concept, we've now carried forward to the user group communities as well, and try and encourage that ongoing sharing. We've been fortunate I've been assisting with the dynamic communities group as well as a dynamic user group to get in-person sessions out and made available across both Canada and the United States.
What's next for Liberty Grove software?
What's next for us is probably twofold. One is embracing AI more holistically internally. That's a journey. We are on that journey. We're going to continue to embrace that from a development perspective and a consulting and a day-to-day operations perspective. And two is to enrich our food-specific solutions so that we can address customers' needs almost completely out of the box with very little customization. There's been an entire paradigm shift about customization in the last 10 years.
And I think from a development perspective, AI is going to play a big part in that, where you can start to build out more functionality much quicker, and you can work more closely with a customer to give them specifically what they want.
Absolutely. And not only can you build it out quicker, you're going to be able to build it out in such a way that is very maintainable, testable moving forward as well. So the total cost of ownership doesn't sort of continue to creep up year over year.
So I think you're in the right spot, because delivering a cloud solution from Microsoft to the SMB market in food is excellent sort of positioning, and I think timing, right? Because these companies are all sitting there, okay, we want to change, we're hearing about AI, and they want to go to a trusted vendor like Microsoft to get it done.
I would agree. I think we're in a good place at a good time. We're very excited with the way things are progressing in the space, and we've had good success with our customers, and the core components of what we do in terms of how we work with our customers is going to be key to retaining those customers in the long run as well, because we want to implement the software and then keep it working with the customers essentially forever.
Perfect. Okay, Andrew, thank you very much for your time, and I'm sure we'll be back in the near future to talk more about Liberty Grove and what Andrew Good is doing to move his company forward.
Thanks for the time, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye for now.
Take care. Bye.